everybody, Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a deck centered around Mega Venusaur EX from Evolutions. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and maybe subscribe. It really helps us out a lot and lets us do more for you guys. And as for the question of the day, with Evolutions being released and them all being reprints of old cards, I would have to say that the question of the day is, what is your favorite retro artwork of a current card? Now, what does that mean? That means that stuff printed in like Fire Red, Leaf Green, even all the way back to base set that is still legal in the current format, like Switch, Judge, among others. Those are just the two that I'm looking at right now. Even VS Seeker, I believe, was reprinted somewhere, was printed originally somewhere along the line. So what is your favorite retro artwork of all of those? If I had to pick, I would have to say that my favorite would be the double colorless energy from base set, just because it not only has the black and white like all of these have. I mean, that's pretty basic. This card also has every single color in the background. I believe it was even updated a little bit to include black and gray, but I mean, then again, the rest of the card is gray, so you can't even necessarily say that gray is included in the background. But I don't know, that part of it just makes it my favorite artwork, because it really does show that double colorless energy works for any type of Pokemon. Now, it doesn't give you every type, that is Rainbow. I still just love the original base set double colorless energy, and that is my favorite retro artwork. Let me know what your guys' favorite retro artwork is and why in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say, because there are so many cool cards that are still able to be used in the competitive format today. Now onto the deck. Like I said, this is centered around Mega Venusaur EX, 230 HP, so very bulky, with the Crisis Vine attack for 4 energy, 3 grass, and a colorless, so essentially what amounts to 4 grass. You do 120. That's pretty awful for 4 energy for 120. That's horrible, except the effect is pretty awesome. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed and poisoned. That is really, really cool, because it allows Venusaur to come in, paralyze whatever your opponent's active Pokemon is, and poison them, and then knock them out next turn. So, I mean, that's really just kind of the way Mega Venusaur works. It can't hit for a ton of damage, but it can freeze them in the active spot, keep them from being able to hit Mega Venusaur, and in the right situation, you're able to just two-shot things like Mega Mewtwo, Mega Scizor, to where they can't even hit you back, and that is what we are going for. Now, I'm not going to lie, Mega Venusaur is very, very clunky, because not only does the 4 energy take a while to power up, it also inherently lends itself to being taken out by things like Mega Mewtwo and Yveltal, and then to a lesser extent Lugia EX, but mainly Yveltal and Mega Mewtwo. If those guys get a hit on Mega Venusaur when it's fully powered up, Mega Venusaur is just in a whole heap of trouble. So that's something that you have to keep in mind, and also the fact that it has 4 retreat cost, meaning that thing's going to be stuck active and it's not going anywhere. So Mega Venusaur, very, very clunky. What I decided to go with this deck is having Yanmega Break, a line of Yanmega and Yanmega Break, to really just damage the opponent early game, and then bring in Mega Venusaur late game to clean up. So that's really what this deck is centered around, and I've actually gotten some pretty solid matches with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through the Pokemon one by one. Shaman, just because Shaman. There's no reason to not use Shaman, because Shaman is amazing. 3-2 of Venusaur and Mega Venusaur, because this is what the deck is centered around. And then 4-3-3 of Yanma, Yanmega, and Yanmega Break. You can definitely run 3-3-3, but I prefer 4-3-3, just because it allows you to start with Yanmega a decent amount of the time, because Venusaur EX also has a very hefty retreat cost of 4, and then Shaman, you don't want to start with that. You want to play that onto your bench. So running a heavy line of Yanma allows you to start with that thing more often than not. And, well, I guess not necessarily more often than not, because it's only 40% of the time, because, yeah, you have 6 other basic Pokemon that aren't Yanma. Either way, gives Yanma a greater chance of starting with than Venusaur and Shaman, so that's why that's there. And then 3-3 of Yanmega and Yanmega Break, just because, I mean, those are going to be the attackers for the deck. And the synergy between these two is that Yanmega, with its Sonic Vision, does not need any energy attached to it as long as you have a hand of 4 in order to attack, while Venusaur can get powered up in the background with Mega Turbo and manual attachments. Speaking of Mega Turbo, I'm running a whopping 4 copies of these because that's really the only method of acceleration we have for Mega Venusaur. Admittedly, I did try a deck with Mega Sceptile and Mega Venusaur, but running 2 Megas in the same deck was a lot more clunky than this deck. I mean, that was probably the clunkiest deck I have ever built, just because you need not only the Spirit Links, but you need the Mega Evolutions, and you need to get all those out. And it was really, really difficult to pull off, so I decided to go with a simpler, more streamlined version of Mega Venusaur and hope that it works a little bit better. In my testing, it's already worked a decent amount better. But either way, decided to go with the Yanmega Break because it does not need any energy to attack, so you can just slap all the energy onto Mega Venusaur. And then also the Free Retreat allows you to go into Mega Venusaur whenever you actually need to attack. So that's something that's pretty nice. We are running, apart from the 4 Mega Turbo, running 1 Revitalizer. You could run 2. I could definitely see running 2, but that's just kind of personal opinion for me. I like being able to get back grass Pokemon from the discard pile and then play them immediately back down with Forest of Giant Plants. And a 1-of can be inconsistent just because sometimes you have to discard it, sometimes you don't draw it when you need it. So you can run 2. I'm just running 1 because I wanted to run other cards. I'm running 2 switches because Venusaur is so clunky, so if your opponent Lysanders that thing out, it's not going to go anywhere unless you have a switch, and it's going to have a Spirit Link attached to it, so there's no Floatstone. That's why I'm running 2 switches. 4 Trainer's Mail to help with the consistency of this deck, 4 Ultra Ball to help get everything out, 4 VS Seeker to reuse all of our supporters, and as for the supporters, I'm using a rather unusual line. You have the 3-1 of N and Sycamore. I mean, that's usually a 4-2 for me, but in this case, I'm running 3-1 just because I have Judge as my other draw supporter. And then 1 Lysander, that's, again, typical for me. And then the 2 Judges. I'm using the Judges because they help get your hand to 4 for Yanmega and Yanmega Break, allowing them to attack and also disrupts your opponent at the same time, so maybe slow them down while you start to hit even harder. And you might be noticing that Pokemon Ranger is missing from my usual supporter line. That was kind of a conscious choice on my part, just because the regular Venusaur, I mean, it doesn't have a bad attack per se. I mean, 4 energy for 90 and heal 30 isn't great, and so you would never run a deck strictly around Venusaur EX. But if you run up against something like a Glaceon or something that blocks damage from evolutions, first off, Regice with its EX lock is taken down by Yanmega. Jolteon is not even a problem for this deck. And then Glaceon, which avoids damage from evolutions, can be taken down by Venusaur and Jungle Hammer and Poison Powder. So that's why I'm not running Pokemon Ranger. And also, what other thing you use Pokemon Ranger for, I think, is Giratina. Yeah, because it stops stadiums, tools, all of that stuff. And in the proper scenario, you won't need the stadium apart from turn 1 and the tool as well. So that really doesn't hinder you that much, and then there's no special energy in this deck. So Pokemon Ranger is very much obsolete in this deck and just kind of clutters things up. So I'm not running that at all. Instead, I'm running 3-1 N and 3-1 Sycamore N, 1 Lysander, and 2 Judges for my supporter line. 4 Forest of Giant Plants because you want that sucker out immediately and you want to start evolving. 3 Venusaur Spirit Links in order to Mega Evolve without ending our turn. That is always a plus. And then 9 of the regular Grass Energy. I decided to go with the base artwork because that is the coolest artwork out there in my opinion. Even cooler than the Heart Gold Soul Silver. Yes, I know that is a very... I know that's a very unpopular opinion because people all think that the Heart Gold Soul Silver is cooler, and don't get me wrong, it is very cool having the artwork in the back of each energy card, but there's something just about the base set reprint that really, really does it for me and makes this kind of special to me. Well, as you can see, very streamlined deck. It's only 2 lines and then 3 in the 3rd line, so let's hope it works, and let's go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against BV Ron with a Water, Electric, and Grass deck, so I have absolutely no idea what my opponent is running. I'm assuming the normal is Shaman, but I could be wrong. We do win the coin flip. That is great for us. Let's go first and hopefully start with a Yanma. We do. That is even better. And then hopefully I can get something going. I have a pretty solid opening hand. If I can somehow get an Ultra Ball off the Trainer's Mail, I can get a Venusaur out and then Shaman for a bunch of cards. And this is a very promising opening hand. I think we will be able to do something pretty solid with this. And okay, my opponent's running Lugia. I start with 2 Yanmega breaks. That's not good. And I'm just going to fail that Trainer's Mail just because, I mean, there was nothing that I wanted. Ooh, the Forested Giant Plants is pretty nice. I think I'm just going to play that sucker down immediately, and then Shaman for 2. My opening hand got a lot more clunky, drawing into 2 Yanmega breaks, and there we go. That's what I like to see. Let's go ahead and immediately evolve into Yanmega, and then immediately into Yanmega break, and then I will be discarding 1 Yanmega break, but I will get 2 Grass Energy into the discard pile for Mega Turbo. Okay, please give me an Ultra Ball. Okay, no Ultra Ball. Wow. So I've gone through a pretty good portion of my deck, and I still haven't drawn an Ultra Ball, so that is pretty unfortunate. I'm just going to end my turn right there. There's really nothing else I can do, and let's see what my opponent's doing. I think, okay, he's attaching the DCE to the Lugia and the Fighting Fury Belt, and then he's going to go ahead and Ninja Boy for, I believe, oh, he just brings in another Lugia, so I honestly have zero idea what my opponent's running at this point. He's just going to Aero Ball. It's going to do a whopping 50 damage to me, and even if he attaches another DCE, that will still not do any damage to me at all. So, wow, this is... Can't draw an Ultra Ball, so let's go ahead and just Sycamore away all those guys, hopefully get a Revitalizer or something, and I still don't get an Ultra Ball or a Venusaur or anything. Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's just go ahead and Shaman, and I don't have a way of searching my deck either, so I have no idea what is even in my deck. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and play my hand down to 4, go for an Assault Boom, get 120 on that Lugia EX, and admittedly, this is kind of turning into a little bit of a Yanmega deck as opposed to a Mega Venusaur deck. But when you don't draw any of your 3 Mega Venusaurs, and who the heck runs Pokemon Center Lady in that deck? That makes no sense at all. Okay, so my opponent is just going to go ahead and Aero Ball, get another 50 damage on me. That is fine with me. Let's see, what can I do? I think... Do I want a Revitalizer yet? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and Revitalizer, get the Yanmega break, and the Venusaur, play the Yanmega break onto my Yanmega on the bench, and then go for another Judge, maybe draw into a Venusaur. Something. I mean, this is... Well, there's an Ultra Ball, but unfortunately I can't play it because I need the 4 cards in my hand for Yanmega, and... Yeah, this is... I mean, I won't be able to get a Venusaur next turn because I will probably have to use that last bench spot for a Shaman, which is not necessarily something I want to do, but is unfortunately turning into something that I'm going to have to do. And honestly, I don't... Okay, so it's Ho-Oh. I mean, I gave my opponent 4 cards, but I don't know. He seemed stuck, and 4 cards shouldn't really be the end of the world. Oh, okay. So I get an Ultra Ball. I can go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of 2 more Grass Energy. I know that I don't have a Super Rod or anything, so getting rid of more Grass Energy will be unfortunate. But this way I can probably get a Venusaur and a Shaman. So my opponent playing down that Skyfield turned out to be very beneficial for me. And okay, so it's Pikachu, Ho-Oh, Lugia. I honestly have no idea what my opponent is running at this point. But, I mean, hey, whatever works. There's the Acrobike as well. Is this... This looks like a Rainbow Road, but without Xerneas. Honestly. Okay, we see the Professor's Letter. Let's see what type of energy my opponent grabs. Nothing. Fails it. Puts a Lucky Helmet onto the Ho-Oh. What is my opponent running? I legitimately am confused. Either way, Yanmega is going to be able to take the hit. I will be able to Ultra Ball for a Shaman. Hopefully draw into 1 Venusaur or something like that. I mean, I'm down to less than half my deck. I should be able to draw into at least a Venusaur. But I guess, okay, I don't even get to draw into one because we go ahead and take the victory on that with Yanmega coming through. So for all you guys know, this was a Yanmega break deck and not a Mega Venusaur deck. So that will obviously not really count that much, and let's go ahead and see if we can try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Over the Woods, and that's funny. Over the Woods with, looks like a Mega Gardevoir deck, so this actually could be a pretty solid matchup for us, just because Venusaur will be able to put in some solid work on my opponent's Mega Gardevoir, being able to two-shot it. And hey, we actually start with a Venusaur this time, so you guys know that I didn't just switch decks from the deck builder. And there we go. I actually start with a very nice opening hand. If I can get like an Ultra Ball or something, that would be even better, or a Forested Giant Plants. And okay, I just get another Grass Energy. So I'm going to play one onto the Venusaur, go ahead and Shaman, get some more cards, and go from there. Ooh. So I will be getting rid of a Mega Turbo, which is... hold on, what do I want to grab? Do I want to go for another Shaman? You know what? Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for another Shaman. Hopefully draw into some more stuff. And I'm honestly just trying to get as explosive of a turn one as possible. And there we go. There's a Forested Giant Plants. That's kind of what I was fishing for. And I get rid of one Mega Turbo. It's not the end of the world. I would like to draw into a Yanmega. Anything? Anybody? Oh boy. So, that's about as dead of a hand as you can get. Wow. That's very unfortunate. So, yeah, despite the fact that we run so many different cards, we get all of the ones that we don't need in an order that we don't need. So that is kind of unfortunate, but it does happen. It really does. And my opponent doesn't... So, okay, my opponent is just going to end me. I'm completely fine with this. I did not like my hand at all. Hopefully I can get like a Venusaur Spirit Link and a Venusaur. Oh no, that's even worse. Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, if I got a Mega Venusaur right there, then that would be fine. But what I'm going to do right here is just do that. And I hate to do this, but I have to get rid of more Mega Turbos. So that is ridiculously frustrating. But it does happen. And I can't even... Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. And I can't even do anything that would get me... Yeah, there's nothing I can do that would allow me to pull off an attack this turn, just because, I mean, I don't draw into much of anything. I could switch into the Yanma. Yeah, which I think I'm going to do. Save my Yanmega for next turn. And, oh, that sucks so much. Could not draw into a Mega Venusaur. Had to get rid of 3 of my Mega Turbos. Because if I got a Mega Venusaur, then I would actually be up and attacking this turn. Well, last turn I would have been able to go ahead and start Crisis Vining, but because I drew so poorly, that's all I can do. And oh my gosh, my opponent is going to Lysander in my Venusaur, and yeah, that's going to hurt a lot. So, oh boy. So I need a Mega Venusaur, and if I can draw into my last Mega Turbo, that would be phenomenal. Well, I guess in the process of... And okay, I don't get that either. So what I'm going to do is just have to Sycamore again, get down to... Let's see, how many cards am I going to get down to? I'm already down to 16 cards. I finally get a Mega Venusaur. Except I don't draw a switch either, so that is even more unfortunate. And wow, okay, so let's just go ahead and Ultra Ball, grab Yanmega. I mean, I have to. Let's go ahead and do that. Play that down onto the Yanma on the bench, and it is going to be yet another turn before I'm able to get off an attack. I mean, basically, everything that could go wrong went wrong. I mean, I drew all but one of my Mega Turbos before I was able to get a Mega Venusaur up. I couldn't draw into anything that would allow me to get a Mega Venusaur, and I mean, it happens with this deck. It's just frustrating when it does happen. On the bright side, I will not be knocked out by the Gardevoir, so if my opponent doesn't happen to have a Mega Gardevoir, I will be able to get a Crisis Vine off and start damaging that guy to where hopefully he won't have a Mega Gardevoir, and yeah, he'll be able to Link Blast again. It's unfortunate, but it does happen, and despite running as streamlined of a deck as I possibly could, I still end up in... Oh, there's the frickin' Mega Turbo. It's about time. And I actually have a Mega Venusaur to go along with it, so there's that. On the negative side, my opponent does already have a... what do I want to draw? You know what? I'm just going to go for a Sycamore. Go ahead and just... Guys, I'm going to be down to 6 cards in my deck before I'm even able to get an attack off. How sad is that? And then I think... You know what? I could switch into my Yanmega, which I think is the better play. But that's the thing. Yeah, I just had to retreat back into Venusaur and then go for a Crisis Vine, Paralyze, and Poison, get some damage off on this Gardevoir. You know, at least Yanmega will be able to revenge if my opponent... I mean, my opponent doesn't have anything. Or at least he hasn't really played any supporter apart from the Lysander. So, and of course he has the Mega Gardevoir too. So, things are just going horribly for us in this match, and... yeah, nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to have to play this through. Mega Venusaur was at least able to get off an attack, and at this point I've gone through so many resources that it's not practical to get up another Mega Venusaur. So unfortunately, Lysander plus not drawing anything plus having to discard all 3 of my Mega Turbos before even getting up a Mega Venusaur led to me not attacking until turn... I think this is turn 3? Turn 3 or 4. But, okay, my opponent will take the lead. And I'm going to go into my Yanmega break. If I can get down to 4 cards, I will be able to knock this guy out. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and judge. Going to go down to 4 cards. Admittedly, it's going to get my opponent a fresh hand as well. But at this point, I just have to start taking prizes. I am down to way too few cards in my deck. And there's... yeah, so let's go ahead and grab 2 of those. Oh, there's the Forest Giant Plants. So get double Forest off of my prizes. At least this way I will be able to Ultra Ball, get rid of enough cards to where I can at least attack. Yeah, my opponent does play down the Fairy Garden and then gets a Sycamore. So turns out judging once again helps my opponent more than hurts them. But it does happen. At least my opponent will not be able to Link Blast in order to get some very good damage on the Yanmega. Or at least, okay, never mind. He's going to go for the Mega Gardevoir, it looks like, which is a very smart play by my opponent. He's going to be able to hit for 110 damage onto my Yanmega, but my Yanmega will still be able to hit him for 120 damage, set him up for the 2-hit knockout, and we will be in a solid position. So what I think I'm going to do here is play down the Forest, go ahead and... let's see, will Ultra Ball get me enough cards? Yeah, Ultra Ball will get me just enough. Let's get rid of the Grass Energy and the Mega Venusaur. I don't need to see that anymore. Grab the Yanma, go ahead and just retreat into my other Yanmega break because my opponent will have to have a good amount of cards on the bench. And then I'll just Assault Boom onto the Mega Gardevoir. And I apologize that this live is suddenly turning into a Yanmega break deck as opposed to a Mega Venusaur deck, but when you draw poorly, there's really nothing you can do, and we are running into yet another Lugia deck. What is going on? I haven't seen Lugia in weeks, and all of a sudden we run into 2 straight when I'm trying to record. But I mean, Lugia is not a bad card. I just want to emphasize the fact that Lugia is not a bad card at all. I do draw into 4 cards, and I really have to manage my resources wisely at this point because I am down to 4, and I mean, I have to take my prizes. I have to take my prizes before my opponent is able to deck me out, which is a very real strategy for him at this point because Yanmega it can spread out damage and it can get damage for free and pretty quickly. But one thing it does not do is it does not get a lot of damage out. It's a lot of 2-hit knockouts, 3-hit knockouts in some cases. So, looks like my opponent is just going to Ultra Ball for a Gardevoir. That is fine with me. He will be able to Despair Ray, but I will also knock out that Gardevoir next turn anyway. And kind of, I can technically rely on N to be able to draw into, well, to keep myself from decking out. And there's the Shaman. Let's just play an energy down on one of the Shaman just in case my opponent Lysanders it in or something like that. And then let's go for the Assault Boom, knock out the Mega Gardevoir, and take 2 more prizes. So, I mean, this is... okay, so yeah, there are 2 more cards that I can definitely use to get my hand back down to 4. And honestly, even though I have such a low deck, I have a decent amount of cards left. And okay, my opponent is just going to do that. That is fine with me. I've used up 3 of my VS Seekers, 3 of my Trainer's Mail, both of my Judges, and my Lysander. So I have to play this last VS Seeker very wisely. What I can do... Okay, so I'm at the point, do I want to Judge or do I want to Lysander? I think my better play is Judging, because even though it gives my opponent more cards, it allows me to attack this turn and prevent myself from decking out and also having an attack option later. So, I mean, that was... I could have Lysandered and prayed that my opponent wouldn't get anything to retreat the Gardevoir, but I think my better play was just preventing the deck out, and that was an interesting interaction. Pressure decreased the damage from Barrier Break, but Barrier Break says this attack is not affected by any effects on your opponent's Pokemon. So that was a very interesting interaction right there. I'm curious as to what that is, because pressure is technically in effect on my opponent's Pokemon, although it could be an ability which might not be in effect. But then again, Shred goes through Safeguard, and why the heck is my opponent running Fairy Drop? I don't understand. But I don't know. I'm just very curious as to how that interaction is supposed to go, because it decreased my damage to the point, and it's actually pretty significant at this point, because he decreased the damage, and now with the Fairy Drop, I will not be able to knock out this Lugia next turn. So I'm curious if that's a bug or if that's an official ruling, because it seems like Shred and stuff like that go through abilities as well, and Pressure is definitely an ability. And I don't know. If somebody knows the official ruling on that, please leave that in the comments section below. I'm curious to see how that would play out. Now, oh no, my opponent plays a Xerneas on the bench, so... Oh, my opponent brings in the Mega Gardevoir, so it will be able to Despair Ray, knock out my Yanmega, but now I have a Yanmega on the bench that will be able to hit for 120 next turn, setting up for another Assault Boom from my other Yanmega. And this is where the free treat comes in handy. So I will go ahead and play that, and then I draw into a Shaman. So let's go ahead and play the Forest of Giant Plants, and then go ahead and Assault Boom onto this Mega Gardevoir. And, I mean, honestly, with the cards that I have left, my opponent can just retreat into Xerneas or Lugia and stall me out. But, I don't know. This was kind of an unfortunate match all around because of what I drew when I drew it. And yes, that definitely does happen. You do draw into your Mega Turbos before you have a Mega Pokemon, and then your only form of draw sport is Sycamore, so you have to get rid of them. And honestly, this is a very clunky build. Like, Mega Venusaur is clunky in itself due to its high retreat cost, its high and specific attack cost, and its overall low damage output, and ways to work around that, because there are ways to work around paralysis like Switch, Escape Rope, Stand-In, Olympia. All of that is able to work around the paralysis and poison, which really does hurt Mega Venusaur, which is why, in my opinion, Mega Venusaur is actually the worst of the 3 Kanto starters in not only the game, but in the TCG as well, just because Mega Blastoise has a lower attack cost and is able to spread damage around. So 120 plus 30 to 2 bench Pokemon is pretty awesome, and there's another Mega Blastoise that can hit for 180. So that works, in my opinion. Mega Charizard is able to hit for just obscene amounts of damage no matter which Mega Charizard you go for, and is able to Oko stuff. And my opponent actually chokes. I was talking over the game because I thought that the game was over. He should have just retreated into a Xerneas or Lugia, but he decides to end me down. And now I have a Shaman, and I have a Yanma, so I'm going to be able to draw into the rest of my deck, put my hand down to 4, and be able to knock out this Mega Gardevoir with an Assault Boom. So we are able to win this game. Just play the Yanma down, go for the Assault Boom, and yes, while that was not a Mega Venusaur cleaning up in the late game, that was still a Mega Venusaur deck. And oh, there's another Venusaur, could have used you a little bit earlier. But either way, this is still a very fun deck. I mean, if you can get it working, it's a fun deck, and if you don't draw poorly, it's a fun deck. But it does happen. And Yanmega Break is good enough on its own to hold its own against some very, very solid decks. So if you have the cards, I recommend try it out. If not, you're not missing anything huge. This is still just kind of a cool deck. Mega Venusaur's attack is one of the cooler attacks overall, just because there's not a lot of attacks that can reliably paralyze. I mean, there's Mega Beedrill, but you have to discard the energy off of it. There's Decking Cover that I know of, and all the other paralysis rely on a coin flip. This is the only for sure paralysis that allows you to paralyze next turn anyway. So try it out if you have the chance. If you have a better build, I would love for you to leave that in the comment section below. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. Leave your comment in the comment section below to the question of the day. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.